That works.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Average Joe's Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Ollie, and my man here, Dave. Say hello to the people, Dave.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
We're doing all right. But listen, this is our inaugural podcast. We want to bring a different spin to the podcast world here at Fantasy. We know there's a lot out there, and all of it's good stuff. But we just want to we call it Average Joe's because we want to let you guys know that we think the same way that you guys think. We feel the same way you feel. And what we're kind of going to do with our initial segment here, which is going to be called ADP Zero. Because there's zero chance that at these people's ADP, these players' ADP, that we're going to draft them. So we're going to call it ADP Zero. Now, like anyone else, if a person drops far enough, certainly everyone has a price. But where they're currently going, I believe that Dave and I have no interest. Is that what you got, Dave?
Absolutely. It's just some people out here that, I also think a couple of my guys are going to be very different to what the public is gonna go with. So I think I might have a lot of people disagreeing with me, but there's just no way I'm taking these guys where they're going right now.
Well, that's what we want. We don't want the same thing as everything else out there, the same players everybody else is talking about. And again, some of this may be people that you, the listeners out there, particularly like or whatever, but we just have our own thoughts and feelings about certain players. And I may not agree or he may not agree with each other, but we're going to have a good time taking a look at some different things. And the premise of this will be next week. It's going to kind of be a two-part deal. Next week we'll come back with some different analytics or whatnot and either try to disprove or prove our points against with the players. As a matter of fact, we may have a little more fun with it, and maybe I'll take Dave's list and I'll look into his players, and he can take my list and look into my players. We don't know. This is the first go around. We're just gonna do this and see what we can come up with here. And we appreciate everyone, all two or three of you, probably just me and him, listening in. So let's go ahead, man, and get started with our ADP Zero segment here. I'll let you start off, Dave, man. Go ahead. Who's your first guy?
First guy for me is the good old Brandon Cooks.
Oh,
I don't want anything to do with Brandon Cooks. Well, not where he's going.
Right.
Fantasy Pros has him as the 43rd player, wide receiver 19.
Right.
And there's just more people around there that I would rather take. I mean, he's going around. I could get Fitzgerald. I could get Golden Tate.
Yeah.
Specifically speaking on PPR. And Brandon Cooks from what I've seen, he's always that, hit or miss guy. He's going to be a big play touchdown, or a big play type of guy. He's not going to get you all these catches and things. And,
right.
He's played with Drew Brees. He's played with Tom Brady. And I don't think anybody's got Jared Goff as a top 10 fantasy quarterback. So
if you do, you're crazy. But there are some Jared Goff truthers out there. He had a pretty good season last season, and I can certainly agree with you on Cooks where he's going right now. There are some people around him, and I kind of see him just kind of glance over and say, nah, I don't know. Maybe as a number 3, but right where he's going right now, he's likely ending up as your number 2 receiver, and it's just so much, so much things going on with that particular offense. He could be the number 1 target or the number 4 target. You don't quite know.
Absolutely. And I don't want to say that I know exactly what the Rams are doing, but
right.
I don't see much of a difference of them throwing him in and using him the same way they used Sammy Watkins last year, just a decoy, because everybody knows that offense is going around Todd Gurley.
Right.
So let's just be honest here.
What would you say to the people who say, but yeah, they gave him all that money, so obviously they have plans to use him?
I've actually gotten that before. People have told me, well, they paid him all this money. They're obviously gonna, they got some plans for him. That's great. That's
right.
My answer. That's great. I'm glad for him. He got
paid.
At the end of the day, they're going to put him on the field. They're going to use him as a distraction, but they're going to use him. You're absolutely right. And for the times when if teams want to say, okay, they're not throwing it to him, he'll be downfield, and he'll have weeks where he'll get you maybe 17, 20 points. He'll have weeks. I mean, he's a good player, but it's not going to be consistent enough. Not for me.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on him. I liked him a lot actually in New England. I had him on one of my fantasy squads last year when it seemed like he was supposed to be the number one option, but he never quite got the targets. But you're right, exactly. Every now and again, every third game or so, he'd bust out with 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns, and he ended up with, I think, maybe somewhere around 1,100 yards last year. But again, that's playing with Tom Brady, and you don't have Gurley back there. You don't have some of the other options. And I think people are kind of sleeping on Robert Woods a little bit, because he came out of that Buffalo offense. And no one was quite all that good in that particular offense, except for maybe Sammy Watkins that one year. But he came out of that offense, and no one really quite know what he could do. And he really had a connection with Jared Goff last year. And I think you're right. They're going to spread that ball around at the very least, and it may be tough for him to deliver on his ADP. So I'm with you there. Okay, all right. Well, let's move along. I'm going to go ahead with my number one. Not number one, I'm sorry, my fifth ADP zero. And this is someone that a lot of folks have spoken about this offseason. He's kind of you're warm, or you're hot on him, or you're cold on him. And that's Alvin Kamara. I just think he's in for a huge regression. I mean, everyone's been saying it. And when the first round, to me, you have to look at it a little bit different. The top half of the round, to me, is almost like a completely different tier. It's like a completely different round. And I would consider taking Alvin Kamara maybe 10th, 11th, 12th after your Gordon goes, after Nuke goes, after Leonard Fournette goes. And if I'm on that 12, 13 turn, I could perhaps see myself going for him because he will be a target monster out of the backfield. And then for the first 4 weeks, obviously, there's no Mark Ingram. But if he does it again, I will deem that he is the greatest running back in history. Because his efficiency was just off the charts. I think he scored a touchdown, what was it, something crazy, like once every 7 touches or something nonsense like that. So
yeah, it was wild. Yeah.
I mean, he came out of nowhere with it as well. The funny thing is, I don't think he was even the full-time starter when he was at Tennessee. So for him to come out and do what he did was simply, amazing. But like in anything else in the NFL, I think after people, see you for a year, now we're prepared.
Right. So who are you? If it came to your turn and you had to pick between Kareem Hunt and Kamara, who are you taking?
I'm going Kareem Hunt. I'm more of a traditional, running back kind of guy. And Kareem Hunt can catch. Don't forget, that first play that wowed everybody last year was like a 70-yard catch where he just took it over the middle and boom, outran everybody. Kareem Hunt is really good out of the backfield, and he's going to get the touches. He's going to get the touches as a regular running back as well. Kamara is simply not built to handle someone handing him the ball 20 times a game. I think we even heard from Sean Payton that they still want to put him in that 15 touch per game realm, and if he's not as efficient as he was last year, you're going to see a bit of a drop off there. Now, I still think he's a first round talent, definitely early second round, but I'm just not touching him where he's going right now, which I think is around pick 6. Is that right?
Yeah, he's going around there.
Yeah, no, I'll take Barkley too.
Yeah, I think I would take Barkley over him as well. So do you think if you take Kamara, do you necessarily have to get Ingram later? Is that a must do?
No, I think that they're completely independent of each other. I believe last year, and I'll be honest, I'm probably one of the people who are sleeping just a little bit on Ingram. I didn't know quite how productive he's been over the years there in New Orleans. And it seems like they always kind of just never wanted to quite give him the role of the workhorse in that offense. They always had someone else there kind of along with him. But he's been pretty productive. And again, he was probably off the charts as well with efficiency last year.
Mm-hmm.
But he's had multiple seasons where he's right there at the 1,000-yard mark. So I think that they're independent of each other. The real question is, though, if you have Ingram, what are you doing with him for the first few weeks, and who's going to take his spot? I know they're talking about Jonathan Williams. I mean, you could possibly get him, or maybe one of the options like Peyton Barber or something like that. Who, he may hold on to the job, maybe not. But no, I don't think you have to handcuff those two guys together at all.
I got you. I agree. I agree with you on Kamara. I think I'm taking him higher than you. I think I would personally take him over Melvin and over Fournette.
Wow!
I agree. But I do think there will be regression there. But just
over Gordon.
I'm taking him over Melvin. I got it. I would be honest. The only guys I'm taking over Kamara is going to be your Le'Veon, your Gurley, your David Johnson, your Zeke, and then that Saquon Kamara conversation is kind of. But after that, that's just me though.
Man, Gordon, I love Gordon. Gordon's to me is the true. Now they have Eckler there, which is kind of scaring people a little bit, but he's the true definition of, to me, a workhorse. I mean, they just love giving him the ball, whether he gets 3 yards or 4 yards. They don't care. They're going to hand him the ball, and they said this offseason they want to get him even more involved in the passing game. Man, I see nothing but great things for Gordon. Really, to me, and I know this is probably not the topic of where we're trying to go with this conversation, but he's the 6th off the board. I mean, after the big 4, after AB, it's between Saquon and Gordon for me, and whoever I can get there, I'll certainly take. But cool deal. Okay, all right, yeah, you have him a little higher than I do. So I think you're next up here. Who's your 4th guy?
All right, Antonio Brown.
Ow! He's killing me.
Not taking him.
He's killing me. He's killing me.
And I only got 2 words. 2 words.
We only have 2 subscribers, and one of them's leaving.
I can't take him for Madden curse. I can't do it.
Oh, the Madden curse.
I can't do it.
Seriously, you believe in this?
I do, man. I do. I actually believe it or not. I drafted him on a team before I found out that he was on the front cover. Traded him away as soon as I could, and I
cannot believe. Now I'm jumping on my phone here. Unfortunately, I'm not in front of my computer. Now, there's someone. You're right. There has been seemingly some kind of a curse or some kind of a coincidence going on here with the Madden cover and the players. But there was one a year or 2 ago that made it through. Who was that?
Well, Brady kind of broke it last year. He won MVP and he was on the cover. And then Drew Brees also survived it as well.
There you go.
Those 2 survived it. But those are 2 quarterbacks. I mean, I'm not saying that it's going after position, but the only 2 arguments I've had are 2 quarterbacks. And, Antonio Brown was already hurt a little bit in training camp. It's just too much for me. I have, like we said, it could just be personal preference. So for anybody that's listening, I don't have any statistics on why you shouldn't get him.
0. You have 0 statistics.
If I'm in a league and I play you and you beat me with Antonio Brown or you win the championship with him on your team, I'm just gonna take it like a man. But I personally just cannot. I can't.
So how far does this go? How far does he have to drop for you to pick him up?
Man, for me to get Antonio Brown,
first round at all?
Man. Now, in the first round, no, I'm not taking him.
Wow.
I'm not taking him second. Well, I might consider him late second round, but there's no way.
Wow, that is real. You must think he's going to get this. So it's a little pun here, a little juju. So you got a little juju on him. Are you taking in that case, since you're so I guess you call it superstitious? Would you now go around higher on Juju because you think Antonio Brown's done and Juju's going to be the main beneficiary?
To be completely honest with you, man, I'll take it a step further. I'm grabbing any share of James Washington in almost any one of my leagues, whether it be standard, whether it be dynasty, whatever it is, 15-round, whatever. I'm getting any share of James Washington I can get.
Wow. You're the first person I think of taking it this far. Yeah, but yeah, you can get James Washington pretty late though, so he's almost like you're not investing a whole lot in that pick
at all.
Yeah.
I've been able to get him last round, if not off the waivers. Him in some of my 16-round leagues, he's there. Anthony Miller's there. People like that. So yeah, you can grab him late.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. I've been hearing all kinds of great things out of Pittsburgh about him. And I think he's going to have a great career there. So, yeah, man, that one kind of took me back here. Late second round for AB. You guys write it down here. If you can get him in the second round, you take him. So, good job. All right, we'll continue on here. The Madden curse killed our subscribers. Now it's down to 50%. All right, so for me, my number 4 guy, and this is going to be another person that probably shocks a little bit. Maybe not as much as AB, but I'm not drafting Kelsey this year. Yeah. And he's actually taken the place. You kind of heard my first podcast of Tyreek Hill, but we see what we see. What's happening is what's happening, and there seems to be some kind of real love connection between Tyreek Hill and Patty Mahomey. He's getting Tyreek Hill the ball, and looks like Tyreek Hill is going to end up being more than just a gadget player or deep threat. Looks like they're going to give him some real reads and real options underneath, and Patty Mahomes is finding them. So I had to switch it out. Somebody there is not going to eat. And I haven't seen much from Travis Kelce, and he's going, if I'm not mistaken, typically right around the 3-4 turn, probably a little earlier than that. I had my notes.
Oh yeah, some people are taking him before Gronk.
Yeah,
early.
Yeah, I had my notes. I don't know, but I think it's right at the 3rd round, and I'm not one of the people who subscribe to, hey, stream tight ends. I think that's stupid. Or get one in your last pick. I think that's dumb as well. I like my guys running around 7, 8, somewhere around there. If I get Njoku or Trey Boo Boo, I'm using someone else's terms here. I'm going to call him Trey something else. Trey Dookie. You can get Trey Dookie around 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if I can get Ertz, or Kelsey, or even Ertz for that matter, right around the 5th, I think I'm pulling the trigger. But that 3rd round price tag, there's so many running backs there. There's so many still great options at wide receiver that I just don't know, especially with this new quarterback coming in. Like I said, he looks like he really loves him a little bit of Tyreek Hill there. And kind of, I don't know, it seems like maybe Sammy Watkins and Kelsey kind of serve the same purpose. No? What do you think about that? Am I crazy? I mean,
I don't know about that. I don't think, Sammy was real hyped when he got there. They were saying that Pat Mahomes and Sammy the connection is crazy and all this stuff, and now we get in the preseason.
We haven't seen it.
It's Tyreek. And so it's almost, to be honest, for the Patrick Mahomes truthers out there, it's almost like Tyreek or pick. That's what I mean. That's what it's looking like. I'm throwing an interception or I'm hitting Tyreek.
Tyreek, one of the two.
And it's the couple plays I saw where he hit Tyreek. I mean, the boy Patrick Mahomes got an arm. It's crazy.
Right? Yeah, it's
wild. But I mean, did we see how much time the O-line was giving him? Is he going to get that much time every play?
Right.
So if it's not going to Sammy, I mean, Travis is gonna, you know what I'm saying? I think so. And I was gonna ask you, what do you feel about, or what do you say to the people that think to themselves, okay, well, if Travis is going in round 3 and he's on a team with, you know, we can basically call Patrick Mahomes a rookie.
Right.
He's on a team with a rookie quarterback who, and most people say rookie quarterbacks will go straight to their tight end. Would I not take an elite receiver, an elite running back, and then try my chances with an elite tight end?
Well, that's the thing that I was saying. To me, Travis Kelce doesn't seem like the prototypical dump-off underneath tight end. He can stretch the field. He's kind of like a Gronk in that way. And the great thing about it is Pat Mahomes has a cannon, but now you're talking about 3 people that stretch the field, which in a way gives you an advantage, but everybody can't run a 9 every time. So when you put Kelce, you know, and he had a great season last year. I mean, it's kind of hard. He had 1,100 yards, 16, 1,000 yards, 17. But again, that's with Alex Smith, who throws the ball to passing the ball. He was like his number 1 target. Like, he just passed the ball all the time. But now you're asking him a rookie to make a lot of underneath reads possibly to Kelce if they're going to change up. I mean, like I said, everybody can't run a 9. I don't know. I just don't like him in the 3rd round. But again, that's just my personal preference and my personal feeling. He may have another 1,000-yard season. I mean, we'll see. But for me, I mean, I'd rather go after some guys with upside later on. I even like in the 6th round or 7th round, I even like Rudolph a lot. I believe that Kirk Cousins loves his tight end. And you know, when Jordan Reed was healthy, he was top 5 material. And I don't think Rudolph is quite the athlete, but I think the targets will be there when because I don't think there's any real 3rd option on that team. You have Diggs, you have Thielen. I don't know who's the 3rd guy. I don't know who the other guy is.
Well, I know we want to move on, but if from what we're talking about, I wanted to see. So if we're thinking Mahomes is going to go to Tyreek, and if he can't get Tyreek,
it's a pick, right?
And and he can't get Travis, or Travis and Sammy are kind of doing the same thing. Are we expecting Chris Conley to have a bigger role in that offense?
No, I'm thinking you're talking about your running backs. I mean, who better to dump it off to than Kareem Hunt, and Spencer Ware is no schlub. I think he's a really good and competent back that can come in and spell Kareem Hunt. I think you're going to see a lot of targets to the running backs, and then also you'll see a lot of targets to Tyreek Hill, and then he'll put it up. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure Kelce will have a fine season, but he has to have 1,000 yards to justify his ADP, right? He can't get 750 and 5 or 6 touchdowns, which is a fine year for a tight end, but that's not a 3rd rounder, is it?
Right, absolutely. No, I agree. Yeah. And that also helps me understand why you would choose Hunt over Kamara. I'm now understanding where this whole thought process is.
Yeah, I think Hunt's going to. I mean, he's a great receiver out of the backfield. I think he's going to get a ton of targets this year. And people forget that with Hunt, I think people soured on him halfway through the year after Andy Reid stopped using him. I mean, it was pretty obvious that he was in the game, but he just wasn't getting the ball. And then they switched that back around at the end of the year. But they didn't. He could have had a even more of a monster year had he continued to get the ball like he was at the beginning. So I think he'll lean as a rookie quarterback, based like you said, on the running back. He'll lean on now. Looks like Tyreek Hill, and then obviously Kelce and Sammy will get theirs over the top a little bit. But I don't see 1,000 yards this season, which again doesn't justify his ADP for me. So yeah, that's where I'm on Kelce. So yeah, we'll move along. What's your number 3, man? Who do you got?
Next for me is Allen Robinson.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody, a lot of people are liking him. I will say this though, and for me, I'm happy to see that he's not being taken as highly as he was. Earlier this year, especially in the summer, Yeah, Allen Robinson was going in round 2. Some people were taking him before A.J. Green, which this is a whole other conversation for another time. But I am astonished at how people are just giving up on A.J. Green. But that's another conversation for another time. But
he's been disrespected. I know, and I think, I had him last year on one of my fantasy squads, and it was ugly. And it was ugly in Cincy last year. But when you look up the overall stats at the end of the year, even on an off year, he still had, like close to 1,100 yards and like eight touchdowns? Or it was.
I mean, the guy's a baller.
Yeah.
He's a baller. Who else is there? We're still waiting on John Ross and them to pop off. I mean, it's AJ.
Right.
But, Allen Robinson, I'd rather have Anthony Miller. I'd rather have Trey Burton. I'd rather have
Trey Dookie
Cohen. You know what I mean? You Trey Dookie.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna like Trey Dookie. I mean, he's like 6'6". So if I see him face to face one day, are you the one calling me Trey Dookie? Well, yeah, I listen to the fantasy footballers. They call you Trey Boo Boo, so I don't want to take that. I'll go with Trey Dookie for right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll come up with something a little better for the guy. Allen Robinson, I just don't want him still where I think he's dropped to about round 4, I want to say. So he's going around Brandon Cooks, which I just said is another guy I don't want in his ADP.
You got to get him around round 4, and he's coming in probably your wide receiver 2, very likely, if you're kind of going running back, wide receiver, or wide receiver, running back, and your wide receiver. How do you feel about him as your wide receiver 2?
I don't want him as my wide receiver 2. If I'm coming in, like I said, I would take, give me Demaryius Thomas over Allen Robinson as my wide receiver 2. I know that they're having the rumors about, Cortland Sutton's taking this over, and he'll be on the field with Emmanuel Sanders because Cortland and Demaryius play a lot.
I gotta say on that one, I'm kind of low on D. He's not on my list here, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the age thing or whatever, or maybe it was an off year last year. I'm not sure if he got hurt or something like that. I just think there's getting ready to be a lot of mouths to feed there also with Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, I know they both had 1,000 yards in one season. Not many offenses can support that, but now with Sutton there and what appears to be possibly an emerging run game, well, yeah, maybe there's no tight end there. Who that? Is it Jake Butt now, or who?
Jake Butt, Jake Butt. That's the guy we're looking at.
Maybe Jay Dookie is better for him. Jay Dookie for Jake. We got 2 Dookies now. I'm gonna figure out something. But Jake Dookie, Jay Dookie, and he might be able to do it. I guess you might be right on that. I think what it is with Allen Robinson is the unknown. He was hurt. He had one great season with Jacksonville, and he's coming into an unknown system with a second-year quarterback who threw the ball about average 12 times a game. So, yeah.
Who do you value? Who do you like more? Do you like Blake Bortles or Mitch Trubisky better? Who do you like?
I would go with Bortles. I know now in real life, if I'm starting a team, no. But fantasy-wise, Bortles has finished as a top 15 quarterback, close to a top 10 several times. And it's come from a lot of garbage time where Jacksonville was, behind and, they're slinging the ball at the end of the game in the fourth quarter trying to score a point. But neither here nor there, points are points in fantasy. And he's been right around 12 or 13 numerous times. I would go with Bortles as my number 2 quarterback in a 2-quarterback league easily. Or if you're one of those people who like to, go with a decent quarterback, around 5 or 6, 7, whatever, and then back them up with a, last pick of the draft kind of thing, I don't mind having Bortles at all. This year, his wide receiver situation is just kind of blown to bits with, Marquise Lee. They let go of some people last year. What was that? Who's the guy? Who's the guy in
Allen Hurns.
Allen Hurns, right?
Allen Hurns. Yeah.
So that might be a little different. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have too much, I don't have too much more to say about good old Allen Robinson. I just, where he's at, I'm all right. I'm
right.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna leave him alone. Gotcha. No problem. My number 3 guy. This is more personal. This probably has nothing to do with stats, and I think you heard this. And my list has completely changed around from the last time. But this is a guy that's always going to stick there. Famous Jameis Winston. Yeah.
Nothing, huh?
Nah.
ADP 0 for
ADP
Jameis?
0 for Jameis. And it has nothing to do with his statistics and everything to do with the person. I know if you take last year and extrapolate his year over the course of the year, he would throw for like 4,900 yards. It was an off touchdown year, so he's probably due for some positive regression. That's the new term in the industry now, positive regression, which basically means you had an off year, so now you have to go back towards your mean, so it means you have to be a little better this year. But no, it has to do with the off-field stuff, has to do with him eating his fingers, has to do with his decision making, and a little bit on the field stuff too. He just throws a lot of interceptions, a lot of bad plays. If he would cut down on that, he would be a little more attractive. But I don't want to have to worry about my number 1 wide receiver getting suspended. I don't have to worry about him making a bad decision off the field. That would just make you, say, "Oh my God, what is this guy doing?" So I just don't like the way he carries himself. A lot of people got on Cam Newton for the same kinds of things. He's Cam Newton times 4 to me. Like, it's just, and I love Cam Newton. I have no problem with what he does, but he's just immature. Maybe a couple years more in the league, he'll get to that point where he understands what a professional football player, a quarterback, a leader of a team is supposed to be about. You just don't see other people going through this. Not your quarterback.
Right.
Now, you have other people out there who make bad decisions, and you're typically talking about running backs and defensive players and stuff like that. But the quarterback is the centerpiece of the team. You can't be touching women in the car or anything. Stop.
Right, at all. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
he drew me in on Hard Knocks. He drew me in. I was trying to hop on
ready.
the train. I was trying to hop on the whole Buccaneers train.
Right.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And I think everyone on the Buccaneers last year, maybe with the exception of O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate, who seemed to catch a touchdown every time we touched the ball, probably let you down. The running back situation was horrible. Deshaun Jackson did squadouche. You had Evans had an off year. I don't. Yeah. Now, give me ADP 0. Now, and again, he's on my list. I will say this: if I'm taking Andrew Luck, if Andrew Luck is my guy that I'm going for, because he could be possibly a top 5 quarterback when he's healthy. He's shown the ability to do that. If I'm taking Andrew Luck, I maybe consider taking Jameis in the last round. Obviously, he's suspended for those first 4 games, but we don't know what we're going to get out of Andrew Luck. And if you have to have someone who can keep up the same kind of production, maybe I'll sleep on that and come back to it. But right now, he's on the list. He's on the list. I was
going to ask, because if we're taking Andrew Luck, would we not want to go with a somewhat safer quarterback there and make sure we're getting?
Well, I think if you're going for the championship, and I think you have to take some chances. If you're going for the championship, you're going to want to have someone who can keep up that same level of production. Getting a guy that, hey, is going to get me by is a great way to come in fourth in your league. You want to win that championship. Jameis has the talent and the ability to get you there. If he had played because he had injury last year as well. I think I mentioned on my first podcast where I can just remember needing 12 points out of my quarterback. He got me 4 that game. The next game he went out with an injury, and he was eating his fingers, and then now he's suspended. I just changed my mind again. I don't want him even in the last round.
Having nightmares about Jameis.
Yeah, no, I think I'm done with him. But who's your number 2 guy?
Well, I'm gonna pair my last two guys. I'm gonna do them together. They're going around the same spot. LaShawn McCoy and Alex Collins.
Yeah. Ooh. I was like, yeah, thumbs up. LaShawn McCoy not doing it. Alex Collins, I don't know. Come on, what's going on? What's going on there?
I didn't see. For me, I didn't see out of Alex Collins, I guess, what everybody else saw. Like, I'm not seeing this guy that I can take as my he's going RB2, I would say, I guess, around Derrick Henry and them.
Yeah.
So I don't want Alex Collins really at all. It's not, and to be honest with you, there's not really a spot, that I would even, if he fell to round 10, I think I'm still passing on Alex Collins. It's just not a guy that I want. I'm going to tell you who I do want. Give me Buck Allen. I think before this season's over, Buck Allen will get more shares out of that backfield.
No.
Oh, yeah.
If we had a way to bet, we would. Oh no.
Yeah,
I don't agree.
I think Buck Allen's going to take that. I don't want any share. I don't want anything to do with Alex Collins. I think everybody's in agreement with LaShawn McCoy. I don't really think that has we don't really have to talk about that much.
The crazy thing is LaShawn McCoy is still going around round 3, but I'm just waiting for the penny to drop. The bombshell, the friend turns on him, there's a camera somewhere, there's a conversation somewhere, and boom, he's out of the league. Not for a year, forever. I mean, you're talking about jail.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And even let's say somehow, for the people out there that think, okay, he's off the hook. Okay, let's say he is. Is there anything interesting about the Bills at all? I mean, do we want anything to do with the Bills this year at all? Their offensive line is terrible.
It's terrible.
I mean, and okay, the argument could be where they're going to feed McCoy. He's going to get all these touches. And then he's going to get hurt. And then you're going to spend this high pick on somebody that's hurt. And he stays hurt. And have you seen him carry the ball? It's a fumble waiting to happen. So I don't want McCoy. This is not a guy I want at all.
No, you're 100% accurate, and I think I'm with you on McCoy. I'm not drafting. I have 0 shares of him. He's one of those guys that I glance over, and when I see Alex Collins, as a matter of fact, I'd much rather have Alex Collins. And I think, Alex Collins is, you don't see a whole lot of flash and fluff out of him, but he just gets the job done. He has good acceleration. He breaks tackles. He runs hard. I think he has a little bit of a fumbling issue, but he kind of shored that up a little bit last year, and they started getting him more involved in the passing game. And I think, you're probably going to see Buck Allen a little more than you want to, and then there's always going to be that threat of Dixon, who they say has enormous talent, but just can't stay on the field to put it together. There's some issues there, and I can see possibly going to somewhere else, but I don't know. I mean, once you get to Lamar Miller, you can't after him. You can't. Maybe Rex Burkhead, even if you don't love him, you can't pass on Alex Collins. I can't see going Buck Allen over Alex. I gotta disagree.
Well, I was gonna say is when you're coming there, if you need a running back, once again, that's just me personally. So as far as you wanting to win your league, if you come in, you need a running back. I don't want you, for whatever reason, to think, well, that guy Dave said he's not taking it. Nah. Take if you want him, take him.
Okay.
Just me personally, and knowing that I don't want Alex Collins, I'm gonna make sure that I have, I know who I'm drafting with, or I'm taking running backs earlier. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna put myself in the position where I'm going to need Alex Collins.
Okay, I can understand that, and I'm with you there. I like him, but we'll just agree to disagree on that one. Cool. So I'll go with my number 2 guys. Are those the last 2 guys for you, or do you have anybody else?
Oh no, that is it.
That's
it for me.
All right, so we'll run through my last 2 real quickly. And probably my number 2 doesn't need much explanation, but is Devontae Parker. I see him on the list, and he's not even there. Like, glance, no.
What list?
Yeah.
What list?
No. Yeah, that's the list he's on all the time. Has had years to show he can be the number one guy, and just is not there. When Kenny Stills is coming off as your number one receiver, you know there's a problem. Now, I've seen the flashes out of of Parker. You see him make a couple of catches a year, but no, I can't draft him. I think even if he was there in the 10th round, I like people better. I left my notes here, but there's guys in the 10th, 11th round. I think he's still going around the 8th or 9th round that I would choose over him. I'll even go with a guy like John Brown out of Baltimore.
Give me Emmanuel Sanders.
Please, yeah. But Emmanuel's going more around the 5th, 6th round now, so the people are kind of going to Emmanuel Sanders. But yeah, 8th round. I'll even go Buffalo on you. I'll go Calvin Benjamin before I'm taking the ball. Yeah, it's that bad for me. I think you and I may be inverted here on the Alex Collins thing. To me, it's Devontae Parker. He's just not. No, I think it's done for him. He's going to be a perennial flirt for people on their rosters. He's supposed to be all this. He has the talent, and just not going to do it. Maybe like Bryant, Martavis Bryant, who I was really high on at the beginning of the season. By the way, we'll talk about him in a different episode. Yeah, let me do my last guy here, so we can get out of here. We've been going for about 45 minutes, so we're gonna get the listeners out of here. Jordy Nelson. He's going as a wide receiver 3-ish, something like that. And I just think the tank is empty. He's going from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can make anybody look good. If you have a set of hands and you can catch, Aaron Rodgers will put it on you. The $1 million man just got paid.
He did. He did.
Jesus, it's ridiculous money. But he's earned it, and it just goes to show they have it to give, or they wouldn't give it.
Right.
There's money out there, and I think that football players are probably significantly underpaid compared to other sports. I think the rosters are so big where they probably can't pay everybody if they pay them in basketball. But you think about baseball. Baseball has a pretty big team, and these closers and these quarterbacks, pitchers, they get ridiculous money, man.
They do. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I just think the tank is empty for Nelson, which is one of the reasons I was so high at one point. And again, we'll talk about it in another episode on Martavis Bryant. I thought he would be just in line for the number 2 position, and a couple of drops out of Amari Cooper, who has had drop problems, who was on my list last time. But I moved him off. Because I've had to draft him a couple times in my league. So I've been swayed by everybody else's opinion that with John Gruden there, his ex-wide receiver is going to eat. And perhaps last year, even with the drops, Amari Cooper didn't get quite enough targets because the offense was horrible in Oakland last year. That we need to give the man one more shot. So I've moved off. He was on my ADP 0 before. But no, I just think Jordy Nelson's done. He's slow. He can catch, certainly. He'll get a few yards, but I'm not putting him. I don't want him as my number 3 wide receiver. Not when I can go out there and in the same round get someone like I don't know. I'll take a PR Gasson. He's older, but I mean I'll take him over Jordy Nelson.
Absolutely.
I'll take Kenny Stills over Jordy Nelson.
Give me Tyrell Williams. Give me Cameron Meredith. Give me all these guys.
Well, Cam's had a hard offseason. I don't know. But you're right. No, I glance over Jordy. He wouldn't be there at all. But I really like Cam as well to come in. Maybe he needs a little more time to recover. But we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, Jordy Nelson. And listen, folks, that concludes our very first, the inaugural, the number 1 episode of Average Joe's. Dave, it was a blast. Can't wait to come back next week, and I think what we'll do is I'll take your list, you take my list. We'll get some numbers together and try to prove it. Try to show it through numbers that what we're saying makes sense. And sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Obviously, some things are personal, like Jameis Winston, but we'll come back and show the people. And it'll be a little bit of a football journey for us and the people as well. And again, we want to show you guys that we think how you think, and to see if our thought processes are are in line with the numbers. And sometimes numbers don't matter, but fantasy football is a numbers game. You got anything else for the people before we go?
Do not take Antonio Brown. Don't take him.
Don't listen. Don't listen to him. I'm going to have to go ahead and veto that. Anyhow, thought of the day: if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Average Joes, we're out of here.